you can kind of see those. But there are 24 letters in the Greek alphabet. These are aleph, beta, gamma, delta, upsilon, zeta, eta, theta, iota, kappa, lambda, mu, nu, chi, omicron, pi, rho, sigma, tan, upsilon, phi or phi, chi or chi, psi, and the last is omega. So when Jesus is saying I'm the alpha and omega, he's kind of referring to this idea of I'm from the A to the Z, baby. And that's what he's talking about. But that is the Greek alphabet. So I just want to take some time, talk a little bit about grammar rules. And again, I'll be going over this with you in person. But it's just important for you to learn. And so, again, these are basic. So one of the first I want to talk about is sigma. So sigma has a kind of circular top line at the top to it, but it changes when it's added on the end of a word. And it makes kind of almost looks like an S there when it's added onto the end of the word. So like in the word stasis, the beginning letter is a circle O with the top line. That's the S at the beginning of the word. But at the end of the word stasis, it looks more like an S, okay? Accents. So Greek, ancient Greek has some accents you're going to have to learn. One of those is the acute accent. Another one is a circumflex accent that's added. Another one is a grave accent. And these indicate changes of pitch, not necessarily stress, in the ancient Greek pronunciation. But then there's also something called a breathing mark, And that typically sort of represents the H sound. So like you'll see at the beginning of a word, it looks like a turned comma at the top, or like an apostrophe at the very beginning of a word. And it can change the meaning of a word, but it adds a h sound, or a breathing mark. So in the word odos, if there's a rough breathing mark, it changes the word to hodos. And so breathing is written before a capital or a small letter. With the diphthong, it's actually written over the second vowel. All right, so there are some important functions, the things that happen in the Greek language. In Greek, there are three types of gendered words. There's the masculine word, the feminine word, and the neuter word, like there would be with some of the other more relatable romantic languages. There are, when it comes to being singular or plural, there are three numbered setups in the declension of words. There's the singular, there's the plural, and then there's sometimes the dual, and that's when there's two objects only. Okay, so that's that. Now we want to talk about cases. And again, this is an introduction. Some of this will be overwhelming to some of you, and that's okay. I just want to give you kind of an overview, and then we're going to dive into each part. So there are 5 cases in Koine Greek: the nominative, the genitive, which is difficult, the dative, the accusative, and finally the vocative, okay? And so we'll be going through declension tables, but one of the things that's, I would say, more difficult about learning Greek is the fact that not only do the Greek verbs decline, but so also do the articles and the nouns. And so that's just something you're going to have to get used to as you read Greek and look at the order. The benefit of Greek is the fact that the language, especially Koine Greek, has a pretty limited vocabulary. And so in one lesson that I'll teach, once a person learns, I want to say it's maybe 15 words, they've basically mastered about 11% of the Greek New Testament. So you can imagine words like logos and Jesus and Galilee are major words in the text. But you're going to have to get really good at your investigative skills, your ability to sort of find a word. And so you're going to need to have that memorized and locked down as you learn it. Okay, so again, I mentioned those 5 different cases of words in Greek, and we'll be going through a declension table, but one of the first things you'll want to learn is the declension of the article. So in English, we have one article. Well, I guess we have more than one, but one of the major ones is the article the. The bank, the planet, the person. In Greek, there's maybe 24, depending on if it's singular or if it's plural. And those, are ho, to, ton, ace, taste, ta, ton, to, to, and you'll have to learn those, okay? So you'll have to learn those. They'll help you understand what's happening in the rest of the sentence. And then we'll learn, once we learn the article, then we'll learn adjectives. And so learning those declensions on those adjectives is going to help you figure out what a word is actually saying. Okay, so I'll put all this, in this video so you can kind of look at it as I go through it. The next are the Greek prepositions. And these are important for us to learn really before we get too far into learning how to decline verbs and memorize verbs, and because the verb formation changes significantly. And I think it's been easier for me anyway, to learn some Greek vocab, then learn the prepositions because they can change what's happening, and to learn those declensions and really get the articles down. That's going to help you. It's going to get you 40-45% of the way there in learning the formation of Greek in the New Testament. Okay? So I'll put a picture here, or maybe it's on the screen now, of kind of how the Greek prepositions work. They're very logical, in my opinion, in terms of position, and they really describe geographically, spatially, what's happening in a sentence. And so you'll learn those, and it'll be a good time. Okay, so everything from para to hudo to ana, and how those change words and how they have impact on words is kind of cool. Okay, so learn those prepositions, and then you'll learn the prefixes. So like in the word for resurrection, we mentioned the word stasis. There is a preposition on the front of that word, which is the preposition ana, which just means to come up. And so the word anastasis is sort of a cognate in Greek because it literally means up from stasis. So resurrection, to come up from a moment or a position where you're frozen, you're resurrected. And so, you'll see those. They may help you actually learn the morphology on some other languages as well. But I'll put all this in the notes on this video. But I'm just thankful that you've joined us and hope this is helpful. You can come back to it another time.